Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's lesson is on division using the area model. And it's very similar to lesson 211, 212. This is 213, 214. So we're still going to be, our goal is still to divide using an area model, but what we're going to notice is the numbers are going to be different. So it's a very short video because we're not going to have new vocab notes or steps. You're going to use the same vocab notes and steps that you have in 2-11, 2-12. So remember, in 4th grade you actually did division using an area model, but in 4th grade your rectangle was a long rectangle. It was a horizontal rectangle. That's how we do it in 4th grade. In 5th grade, we have a vertical rectangle. 5th grade. The other difference from 4th to 5th grade is in 4th grade, you had what we called a single digit divisor. So your divisors, these numbers, which you're dividing by, were always one digit. In 5th grade, we're mainly going to see 2-digit divisors. So this is the big part of 5th grade, is we have 2-digit divisors and we use our area model vertically. Okay, so our steps will be exactly the same, but because of these 2-digit divisors, it's going to be a little bit different and it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Okay, so what is this actually going to look like? I'm going to do exactly what I did in the last video and in lessons 211, 212. I'm going to first make my tall rectangle. Then my next step is I'm going to put my divisor on top. That's step 2. Step 3 is I'm going to estimate without going over how many times this can fit into my dividend, and I'm going to underline. So I'm going to first say, can 15 fit into 8? Nope. Can 15 fit into 87? Well, I know it can fit in, but this is where it's a little trickier. How many times? I don't have basic facts to help me, because I don't have my basic facts for 15. So this time, you're going to kind of have to take a guess and then do some scratch work, or what we call in math side work. It's called side work because you do it on the side of your problem. How many times? Well, if I think, I know it's going to be more than one. Definitely more than one. You kind of have to take a guess and just have a good place to start. I'm going to try 5. 5 is always a good place to start. So what I'm going to see is, what is 15 times 5? I'm going to come over here to the side and try it. 5 times 5 is 25, and I carry my 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 75. So it can fit in 5 times, maybe 6. Let's try and see if it can fit in 6 times. So let's see what 15 times 6 is. 6 times 5 is 30. So I put my 0, carry my 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 90. No, 90 is too big. So I know that 15 can fit into 87 5 times, but because of the 2 spots, it's actually 500 times. So what do we have? We have 15 times 5. We figure it out as 75, and I'm going to add my 2 zeros. So 7,500. And then we're going to subtract our answer, over here, 0, 6, 2, 1. Okay, I'm not done because I have to go until I have nothing left. So now I say, with underlining again, can 15 fit into 1? No. Can 15 fit into 12? No. Can 15 fit into 126? Yes. But now the trick is, how many times? Well, I already know it has to be more than 6 because remember, I already figured out what 6 times 15 is. So 6 times 15 is 90. So it's going to be quite a few more. Maybe let's try 8. And notice there's not really a plan. You just kind of have to try one. So 8 times 5 is 40. So I put my 0 and carry my 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Ooh, I got really close. I don't think I'm going to get closer than that. So I know 15 fits into 126 8 times. But since I have this extra 0 here, I'm going to say it's actually 80 times. So 15 times 8 is 120, and add my extra 0. And then I have 1,200, and let's subtract 0, 6. Okay, I'm not done yet because this isn't a 0. So now I have to say, can 15 fit into 6? No. Can 15 fit into 60? Yes. The nice thing about not erasing your side work is you can use this to help you. 15 can't fit in 8 times. 6 is too big. Even 5 is too big. Well, 5 is too big. I'm guessing it's going to be 4. So let's come over here on the side and try 4 and see what we get. What's 15 times 4? 4 times 5 is 20. So I carry my 2. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2. It fits in perfectly 4 times. So I'm going to put a 4. And because there's no extra numbers, it's just 4. So 4 times 15 is 60. And when I subtract, there's nothing left. So my answer is these numbers together. So 584 is my answer. Okay, so notice my steps were all the same. The only difference was you needed to do a lot of side work because you don't have basic facts to help you. Okay, so let's try another one. Okay, so this time it's set up a little bit different. So my divisor, I'm going to put on top. So step 1 is I draw my box. Step 2 is I put my divisor on top. And then step 3 is I underline to say how many times it can go in. So let's see. Can 21 fit into 3? No. Can 21 fit into 34? Yes. This one I can figure out in my head. Maybe you could too. I know 21 fits in 1 time because if 2 times, 21 times 2 would be 42. So it's only going to be 1 time. But because I have these 2 spaces, it's actually 100 times. So what do we have? We have 21 times 1 is 21, and add my 2 zeros. So I have, when I subtract, what do I have left? 2, 0, 3, 1,302. Let me make my 3 a little clearer. Okay, so now let's go back. Can 21 fit into 1? No. 13? No. What about 130? Yes. So how many times? You kind of have to just take a guess. Maybe you could think about 20 and count by 20s. So if I count by 20s, I know 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. Oh, I'm thinking 6 times then. So I'm going to come over here and do some side work. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So that's pretty close. I don't think I'm going to get any closer. So I know it's going to be 6, but because there's 1 extra number, it's actually 6D. So let's see. 21 times 6 was 126, and then the extra 0 I'm going to add. Because 21 times 6 gave me this, and I added the 0. Okay, so let's come over here and subtract and see where we're at. We have a 2. I need to borrow 42. Okay, so then I keep going. Can 21 fit into 4? Nope. Can 21 fit into 42? Yes. And you might be able to just figure this out. It's going to be 2 times. So 2 times 21 is 42, and that's going to leave me with nothing. So here's my answer, 162. Okay, so this one didn't require as much side work because I was able to figure out a little bit more in my head. Okay, so let's try some. All right, my first one is 7,840 divided by 32. Okay, so I'm going to do my same steps as I do a single digit. I'm going to draw my rectangle. I'm going to put my divisor on top. and then I'm going to kind of get started. So I have my marker's not a good one, sorry, 7,840. Okay, so can 32 fit into 7? No. Can 32 fit into 78? Yes. You might need to do some side work, or you might just be able to figure this one out. I think I could figure it out because 32 plus 32 is going to give me 64. So I know it's going to be 2. But because there's 2 extra, it's going to actually be 200. So 32 times 2, well, I know 30 times 2 is 60. And then 2 times 2 is 4. So it's going to be 64 plus my 2 zeros. So let's come over here and subtract. And I'm getting 1,440. Okay, so now let's see. Can 32 fit into 1? Nope. 14? No. 144? Yes. Okay, I can't figure this one out in my head, so I might need to just take a guess. Maybe you could try counting by 30s. So maybe you know 30 would be 1, 60, 90, 120, 150. I counted by 30s, I got 30. Then I got 60, 90, 120. So I'm thinking it's probably 4 times. Let me come over here on the side and figure out what 32 times 4 is. I'm getting 8, and then 4 times 3 is 12. I don't think I'm going to get closer than that. So I'm going to say it's 4, but because this one extra, it's actually 4D. So 32 times 4 is 128, and then add my 0. So 1,280. And I'm going to need to borrow. I'm getting 160. Okay, well here's the nice thing about not erasing your side work. I know that 32 can't fit into 1, can't fit into 16, but it can fit into 160. And I know it's going to be more than 4, so let's try what 32 times 5 is. 5 times 2 is 10, carry my 1. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16. So it's 5 times, and it's 5 because there's no extra numbers. So 5 times 32 is 160, and I'm finally left with nothing. So here's my answer. My answer is 245. Oops, you didn't see it. Sorry, 245. So my steps are all the same. The big difference is you're going to need to do a little bit of side work on these. It's going to take a little bit extra effort to solve them. Okay, so let's try another one. All right, same idea. I'm going to follow my same steps from my last lesson. I'm going to do step 1. I'm going to draw my rectangle. Step 2, I'm going to put my divisor on top. Step 3, I'm going to underline my dividend and try and figure it out. So can 30 fit into 6? No. Can 30 fit into 62? Yes. And you probably could do this without side work. I know it's going to be 2 times, but because of these, it's actually going to be 200 times. So 3 times 2 is 6, and I have 1, 2, 3 zeros this time. So let's see what happens when we subtract. I am getting 240. Okay, so 30 cannot fit into 2. It cannot fit into 24, but it can fit into 240. So you could try counting by 30s, or you could maybe take a guess. If you can't count by 30s, let's just try 5. I'm going to do some side work down here because I'm running out of space. What's 30 times 5? 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. Oh, it's going to be more than that. Maybe let's try 7. 30 times 7. 7, 0. 210? Nope. Some of you might have figured out it might be easier if I did it this way. What about 8? 3 times 8 is 24, and then add a 0. So it's going to be 8 times. Okay, so 30 can fit into 248 times, and 3 times 8 is 24, and add a 0. So 240, and I'm going to subtract, and I get nothing. So my answer is 200 plus 8, which is 208. Okay, so this is what you're going to really see on your test. You're going to very rarely in 5th grade see a lot of single digit. Most of what you're going to see in 5th grade is going to always be vertical, and it's mostly going to be 2-digit divisors. So this is what you really need to be practicing. Okay, you only have 2 problems for homework right here, and then make sure you rate yourself. Have a good night.